Hey, who doesn't like a good Korovai at a wedding, huh? I know I sure do. All six of my weddings had fabulous breads. That's why the carbohydrates make Baba so chubby. Now we've got a special presentation from Natalia and Hanya Onyschuk, who are going to make the fabulous bread for us. Let's have a look and a watch on this, and I'll go churn some butter and get ready for it.
Hi, my name is Natalia,
And I'm Hanya.
and together we make korovais. This is a korovai. A korovai is a Ukrainian wedding bread, and it's made with the richest and most delicious ingredients. It's been made historically in Ukraine, across Ukraine, with different styles for hundreds of years. And when Ukrainians came to Canada, they brought the tradition with them. Some of them have an arch, some of them don't have an arch. All of them will have their unique flavor. But the most important thing is to have your korovai, have it at your head table, and to cut it up and eat it at the end of your wedding.
Yes.
When making a korovai, traditionally it involved 7 women, 7 happily married women, and they would all bring ingredients from their kitchens, from their households. They would bring water from their wells, flour from their fields, eggs from their chickens, and butter from their cows.
7 different places.
7 different places, and it would all be mixed together into a big bowl. But before they would start the mixing, they would all have a shot of vodka. Дай Боже.
На здоров'я.
Now we can start the show.
Yes.
So the mixing would start, and the women would sing traditional songs, and they would only think good wishes. They would never think about anything negative or bad, because that would bring sort of negativity to the couple, and you of course want the best for them to work out their lives together.
Yes. They would give advice.
They would give advice, and often the bride would be there and the bride's mother, and they would all be mixing, and it would be a big family event. And in our family, it's turned out to be the same way. I, of course, bake with Hanya, and we have our daughters, and they all have learned how to make the ornamentations. And one daughter works at a flower shop part-time, and she's the one who introduced putting in natural flowers. So we just pick these from the garden. So anything can happen in terms of your decorations. But we also have another person in the family who's very important, because she does our embroidery for the ruchnik, and that's our sister-in-law Barbie. Lastly, you can't forget the most important person, and that's our mom. She's the one who introduced us to pasca baking and to korovais, and has given us a lot of advice and even helped us this morning with our korovai.
Yes.
There are many decorations that are used to ornate the korovai. The most important and the most common is the birds and the greenery. On our korovai, we put in the center 2 birds which represent the bride and the groom. It is on a circular bread, which is a symbol for eternity, for everlasting love for the couple. All the birds around symbolize their family and their friends and their community, celebrating them on this wedding day. The arch is their first day with the blessing in the church that they start their new life as a married couple. And the embroidery is very symbolic in the wedding ceremonies, but we make a little miniature one here. In the wedding ceremony, the bride and groom kneel on this ruchnik through the whole ceremony. Now, what are these made out of? They're made of dough, but not the same dough as the bread. It's a salt and water dough. The nice thing about this dough is they keep their shape when you put them in the oven. They don't change. And then when you're finished, you take them out of the oven and you put a little glaze of egg and water on it, which makes it a nice finish and gives it the glossy look. The eyes of these birds are put on with an edible pen. So everything on this korovai is food friendly. Now there's other types of dough, several different types of recipes with water and flour, where they use baking soda and they use oil. Now you can use the same dough as the korovai, which is a very nice dough, but your birds will change in the oven. They will grow because of the yeast. And with those birds, it's nice because you can eat them, and they have the peppercorn eyes. So that is the doughs that you can use to make your birds.
Now I'm going to talk about the actual dough and how it's formed. It's not your regular bread dough. It's got to be the best, freshest, and most richest ingredients. And as you've noticed, it's got a braiding around the front, and it can also have twists. So braiding has a lot of tradition. It's used in folk culture with braiding hair, but it also can involve the twisting of and braiding of the families together, and it can represent the Holy Trinity. The twists are also really important because it's the two families joining together and the bride and groom joining together. Now, when we're mixing the dough, I could never do it without Hanya. I can mix the dough, but I can't form the braids and the ropes myself. We actually measured how long our ropes have to be before we twist and braid them, and they're about 4 feet long. Now, if you all of a sudden break your rope, that's disastrous because it means a curse on the couple. So we have to start again, and we start again, and we start again. And never, never do you want those ropes to break. So we couldn't do it without Hanya because it takes a lot of group work. And sometimes we even roll out the ropes together.
So I have some examples of other types of decorations that you can use for a Korovai. There's many. These are just very small. These are shishke, pine cones, and they're for the families to grow. They're so the bride and groom have children, so the families go on. And also the flower is a flower of love, and also for the families to grow, for the couple to have children. Wheat is for prosperity. Also here in Alberta, lots of people like wheat. I think it's their connection to the earth. These sometimes are put in the middle in big groups, and they represent greenery. It's made with one strip of dough that goes all the way around to the top, and they represent, I think they represent the pine cones. They represent the pine cones. So the swirls, they represent unity. Unity between the opposites. Unity between a man and a woman, a husband and a wife. So unity is important in a marriage. And these are oak leaves. They represent strength, longevity, and patience, because patience is also needed in a marriage. These are examples of other birds with wings. See, these have wings and these do not have wings. They're made differently.
When you're baking a korovai, the most important step at the very end is to put it in the oven, open that door, and my mom's role is to bless the korovai. So she'll actually go, V'im'ya Otsa, i Syna, i Святого Духа, Amin, and then she'll say, Bože, blahoslovi molodu paru. And it's just a way of making the ending to the baking process, with love and joy.
The greenery this is barvinok, periwinkle. And we got it from our garden, and it is everlasting because it is green all the time, even in the winter time. It is green. If you take the snow away, it is green. So it's everlasting love for the couple on the Korovai. You can use other types. You can use myrt, myrtle, and our mother has many stories. I'll just tell you 2 of them. The first one is what she remembers is the Korovai. When she was a little girl, they took the top of a evergreen tree and put it in the center and put ribbons on it. So that was one type of style that people had. Another type is quite interesting because it's about Borden Park, and we're in Borden Park. The family was making a Korovai, didn't have any evergreen, so they came in the dark of night to Borden Park and snipped some evergreen, with true story, evergreen for their Korovai. And here we are today talking to you about Korovai, but we didn't steal anything here. So, and I'm sure they left it all intact too. So
once the korovai is baked and decorated, it's placed at the head table in front of the young couple. But before any festivities happen, the parents of the bride and groom bring a kolach, the bread and salt, and they greet the young couple at the door. So none of the festivities can happen until they get the blessing from the parents. Bread, of course, is the holiest of all foods, and salt never loses its flavor or its taste, and salt is actually really necessary for us to live as human beings. So the bread and salt has a lot of symbolism involved in that.
what we found in our journey with making korovais, the art of making korovais, is that we're learning from our mother first, our family, our community, and from the people that come to us when they request a korovai. We learn from their requests what they would like. We had dancers that wanted ribbons on the back and what they remember of their traditions. So for us, korovais are a journey, and not one is ever the same.